Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Josh Smith, the Great Above College Planning. Today, we are talking about how to file a successful appeal, right? So we did a video recently about some reasons why you should file an appeal. Today, we're going to go over some practical and tactical steps to help you file a successful appeal or asking for more money. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for being here. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified anytime we upload a video where we're talking about scholarships, financial aid, and anything else related to funding and paying or planning for college. So with that being said, subscribe. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, comment below. But let's go ahead and jump into this video. I'm going to share my screen so I can give you some slides, some things that you can actually look at and follow. Let me give you a little substance here. And let's do it like this. And here we go. So we are going to talk about, as I mentioned, appealing your financial aid. If you have any questions as I go through this, please comment below. You feel free to watch this video as many times as you need to. And reach out to us as needed. But let's go ahead and talk. I don't think it's going to be that complicated, but I do have some important things that you definitely want to know and follow. So when it comes to filing an appeal, before we jump into some of the slides, you want to remember that an appeal is another way of just asking for more money, right? So once again, if you haven't seen that video, check out that video. I'll include a link somewhere you can click. Check out that video that we did on reasons why you should file an appeal. But you're basically asking for more money, whether that be need-based money or merit money. You're just asking for more money to make college more affordable. So I just want to make sure you understand that as you go through the appeals process, and you may hear or watch other videos or hear people talk about it, you're not negotiating. Okay, so we're not talking about negotiating. At least in your mind, you can think of it as a negotiation. You're preparing to negotiate, but when you speak to the colleges, you don't want to use the terminology negotiate or the wording negotiate. I want to negotiate my offer, get more money. You don't want to do that. That's a major no-no. So I just want to be clear that you want to file an appeal. You want to ask for more money. And in your mind, you could think that you're negotiating, which is totally cool. But when you communicate with the colleges, you do not call or email and say, hey, we like to negotiate for more money or a better offer. Okay, so don't do that. Just want to make sure we're clear in that before we jump into some of the slides. And let's go ahead and dive into step number one. So I also included some dates here. So you just kind of give you a general idea of when you should be doing certain things. The first thing you want to do when it comes to filing a successful appeal is you want to complete the financial aid forms if you haven't already done so, whether that be the FAFSA or the CSS profile, and maybe both. If you haven't done this, go back and do this. Your opportunity to do this pretty much opens October 1st until now, right? So you still have time to do it. It's not a deadline where you're going to miss the opportunity, but if you haven't done it, do it, complete your financial aid forms. And if you have done it, you want to review your SAR or your student aid report for accuracy and to correct costly mistakes. This is usually the first thing that you should do. And I want to say 100% of the people that I've worked with when I've done appeals and we've completed successful appeals to get more financial aid or more money, we always start with the student aid report if they've already completed the financial aid forms. And oftentimes I notice areas where there's some mistakes. There's some things that need to be changed. Maybe they just misunderstood or they provided the wrong information based on the question. And I know it seems to be really, really simple for a lot of people, but sometimes it can be confusing, especially if this is not something that you do all the time. So the reason why this is so important is when you file an appeal and you ask for more money, you want to have like something that you can basically let the colleges know, or something that they can identify with as like, hey, this is what I submitted, but this is actually my real situation, and I actually made the change. So my expected family contribution is not really 45,000; it's more like 14,000, and I still need some help. So just make sure that we review, we go back, look at what we did, just make sure everything is right and there's no typos or no hiccups when it comes to the information that you initially submitted on those financial aid forms. So that's number one. We want to start with the financial aid forms. So the second thing you want to do is you want to research the colleges in question, or the college that your student may be considering. You want to research that school and kind of get a little bit more, understanding of their process. And this is typically done between February and March. So you want to find out, for example, as you see here, does the college provide financial aid, right? Typically, you already know that if you apply to the university. As you know, some universities do not provide merit financial aid. Maybe they only provide need-based financial aid. But you want to know, do they provide financial aid? What type of financial aid? Is it need-based? Is it merit? And then the second thing is, what is the average need met? And how is that need going to be met at this specific university? So what we mean by that is, it going to be gift aid, or is it going to be self-help? Right. So gift aid is money that, is free. You don't have to repay it. Merit scholarships, grants, things like that. Self-help, things such as work study, student loans, and anything that you kind of have to pay back or come up with through your own efforts would typically be self-help. So you want to get an idea of what they provide and how they provide that help or that aid. This is also really important because this kind of can level your expectations, set the right expectation that you should have at a specific college. Now, every college is going to do things differently. And this is really important that you understand how the specific school in question does things based on, their process and what history kind of has said or has shown for that specific university. So a little bit more about what I mean by that is, if you have received a financial award package, your student received the financial award package, and let's say they are getting $40,000 in financial aid, right? I don't know if that's, but let's just say it's $40,000. But historically, that school provides students, let's say $20,000. The ones that demonstrate need, they typically only provide about $20,000 or 20% of what the student might need. But in your situation, you got $40,000, or double what they would typically provide. So, in this particular situation, you got a pretty good offer. You can always ask for more money, and it does not jeopardize the money that's already been offered to your student. But going in, hey, we got a pretty good offer. We may not get much more money because we're already in a better situation than most students historically. And then vice versa. Let's say they typically give $40,000 based on a demonstrated need, or 40%, but you've only gotten maybe half of that, or 20,000. Well, now okay, well, based on common research or information that's been provided, that we have a good case. We know that we should be able to get more money. Our student is a great student. They've been accepted. They received other offers and opportunities. We should be able to get more money, and we have a legitimate argument. So it kind of sets the precedence or the tone for how you kind of move about and how much time you actually put into filing an appeal when your chances of actually receiving more money. If you can't find this information on your own, you can always reach out to us. You can comment below or email us. We'll make sure all the information is provided in the description, where I can get you some of this information that you may not be able to find on your own, as far as, does a school provide financial aid, what type of financial aid, and some of the percentage breakdowns between gift aid versus self-help. So with that being said, then you want to reach out to the financial aid office, and you just pretty much want to inquire about what's their process? How do they typically do things, right? So do they submit, if you haven't gotten an offer or award package yet, maybe they accept students and then, reach out with award offers or award packages. Every school is going to do things differently. And then some schools may even change how they do things on a year-by-year basis. So communicating with the university directly to just ask about, hey, what's your process? How do things typically work? That way it sets the right expectation again. It kind of just puts you in a know, and you have some transparency. Once again, this is good to do between February and March, so you don't wait too late. At the same time, you don't want to do it too soon. You don't want your student, or you don't want to panic and, hey, we're not getting any money, but you've only got an acceptance letter maybe a week ago, and maybe late January. And you're worried about not getting anything else because you may have already received an acceptance letter from another university with an award package. So give it a little time, February, March. If you haven't gotten anything, then you may want to reach out and say, hey, what's your process? And then you may need to file an appeal. So So what is their, and then also want to know what is their process for handling appeals. Typically, every university has a way of handling appeals, whether that be specific forms, a certain department, a time frame, how they handle things. You really want to know that because you want to, stay within those boundaries of how they handle things, so your appeal can actually be acknowledged. If you call when they really want an email, if you email in a letter, but they really also wanted a form, and you don't do that, then you're really not giving yourself the best opportunity to actually get more money. Sometimes universities include this information on their website as well. So if you go to the financial aid section of the website, there may be a section within that, a subsection where you can find appeals information, just so you can, follow their process. It's really important that you follow the school's process and you don't just wing it or do your own thing, because that just, it just weakens your chances of receiving any money or being heard if you're not doing it within the parameters that they prefer. So reach out to the financial aid office and get that information, whether it be phone, email, or on the website. So then also, this is really important, is contact the major program or department or coach, for example, that your student is looking to be a part of. If they're going to be an engineer major, or maybe a math major, or more maybe liberal arts or whatever that might be, or they may be playing a sport. Reach out to those departments or those people that have influence within those departments, and also inquire about scholarships. Hey, are there any scholarships that may be available? So this is something you do directly with the department as well as with the financial aid office. And then sometimes, depending on your situation, there could be an area recruiter that you can reach out to and also ask, hey, this is my situation. We're really trying to make this work. Do you know of any opportunities that I can look into that may not have been included in the normal admissions process or receiving my financial aid information? Maybe they not only know about university scholarships, but they also may know about private scholarships that, that are common within that area or for that specific university or that major or area of focus. So reaching out to those people can do a couple of things for you. One, it can help you identify some opportunities when it comes to scholarships. Two, it shows that you're demonstrating interest and building relationships. When you need other people, like advocates in your corner, to kind of go to bat for you when you're trying to make things work, maybe find a little bit more money, and there may be an opportunity or someone has an influence, or, hey, we actually need this. So, we have to, we need a tuba player this year. So if there's any available money or additional opportunities, please, we'll love to utilize those funds for our department. I don't know what the situation could be at that specific school and within your situation, but it's always good to have those relationships and those connections. And it shows that you're demonstrating interest, which is really, really, really important. So demonstrating interest I've talked about this in other videos, but especially the more selective the school and the better the student, the more important it is to demonstrate interest at that school. And this is part of that process, especially if your student hasn't either A, been accepted, or B, received a good amount of money that they're capable of receiving. So demonstrate interest, and it makes the university feel like your student really wants to attend their campus. They know your student may have other options, but they want to protect their yield. And that's the most important thing when it comes to a lot of universities, especially the ones that are more selective, is they want to be careful with who they offer acceptance to and who they offer money to, especially if that student has a strong likelihood of not accepting that offer. So when you demonstrate interest, it shows your students demonstrating interest. It shows that they're really interested in attending school at that specific program or that specific campus. So this helps when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to identifying more opportunities and getting more money when your student is demonstrating interest. So reaching out to those department heads can definitely be helpful. Do me a favor. If you are a student or if you have a student, please let me know what your student is doing in the comment section to demonstrate interest at their dream college or dream university. If your student is applying and they're kind of in that waiting process, let me know in the comment below what they're doing to demonstrate some interest and to show that they're really strongly considering or interested in a specific university. Thank you for that. And then the third thing is, as far as reaching out to the departments or the coaches, is it helps you identify advocates. And I kind of just talked about that, but really important to have those people in your corner. really important to build those relationships. And collectively, what those two things do is it helps you showcase, your students showcase that they're demonstrating or showing interest in a specific university or program. So I know I said that and I beat this slide up, but this is really important to understand and know, because it matters when it comes to asking for more money. Let me see here. All right. So if you are at the point where you need to write a letter, you need to submit a letter of an appeal. This is a whole part of the appeal process. Is you want to write and submit your letter of appeal, and typically you do this between March and April. Decisions are usually made in May, as far as you as a family, you as a student or parent of that student making your decision as far as where your student's going to attend college. So if there's any money needed, if there's anything that help you make that decision to bridge the gap, or just kind of make it more worth your students while your family's, based on your family situation, typically you want to do that between March and April. You don't want to wait to the last minute. You don't want to wait where they're, compiling all those, acceptances and that new class, and you a day before submit a letter of appeal saying, hey, I need help. So do this by April, between March and April, after you've done some research, some due diligence, and go ahead and submit that letter of appeal if you are a parent. And just want to remember, this is not a negotiation. So do not use that verbiage when you speak to your college in question or college of question. So if you're a parent, if your reason for appealing is due to your income or family circumstances, please explain that. You want to take a more logical approach and be detailed in your explanation. If you lost your income, if you had decrease in pay, if something happened that is impacting your ability to pay, or maybe you just don't have the money, you don't make enough money, and you really want to make this happen, be very logical when you speak, when you communicate. Not so much emotional. Just, hey, this is kind of the bottom line. This is the matter of fact situation, and we really need to make this work. And can you help us out, right? So if you want examples of what to say or how to say it, as far as a letter coming from a parent, please let me know. Once again, you can comment below and I'll get you some examples and templates that we've used that have been successful for other families. But just remember, parents, you want to take more of a logical approach, okay? And then for your student, this is also really important. So when it comes to your student filing appeal, you want to write a letter explaining what attending the university will mean to you, and some of the financial challenges or obstacles you may face. Be open to writing about emotional impact and the vulnerability. You want to showcase some of your vulnerability, the emotional impact of what not attending the university will have on you. How much it meant to you. I didn't say this yet, but you want to be more emotional. So mom and dad, a little bit more logical, numbers, details, things like that. Student, a little bit more emotional. This is what, it means to me. And once again, as the student, are demonstrating interest, as you make as you state your argument, you state your situation and follow your appeal, they're going to be able to say there's some consistency. The student has shown that they're really interested in attending our campus. They've been on the phone, communicating on the website, visiting, signing up for events, things like that. And, they just can't really make it happen due to their situation. It just comes across a lot better when you are demonstrating interest and you're showing or telling them, in the letter, hey, this is my situation and this is what it means to me. Can you please help me out? You want to speak about your family's financial challenges, but on a surface level, pretty much as a child, right? Or as a student. You may not know exactly what's happening at your mom or dad's job or work and why their pay has been decreased, or that a little bit, hey, this is kind of the challenge that my parents are dealing with, but you don't know the specifics all the time. And you kind of want to speak in that way, like, hey, I know that there's been a change, I don't know all the details, and don't worry about including the details. Talk more about what it means to you and the emotional connection, the impact and the connection that you have with the specific university, and what it would mean that if you couldn't attend. So also, once again, comment below or email us if you want, any information on, on how to do this, or any examples on how to do this, so you can kind of follow, the same template. And then you want to, as a part of writing your appeal, your letter is very important, is gather all supporting information and documentation. Okay, so you want to offer any information that supports your argument. So other financial aid, scholarship offers, acceptance letters, anything from another college with a lower cost of attendance. And let's go back a little bit. So any offers that you receive from a competing or comparable university. So if you're competing in one school and there's another school that's competing, a direct, maybe competitor to that university that, let's say, you've applied to, but it's not your dream college, but the other one is, the one in question, you definitely want to use that offer if you've received one and say, hey, this is what this school over here has given me. Is there anything that you can do to help us? Can you match what they've given us or give us a little bit more to help make our decision that much better or easier, to attend your university? And believe it or not, that works, that helps. But having that offer, that letter, is definitely powerful, especially if you are if you're a top student that both universities would want. They don't one university would hate to lose you because they didn't offer you the same type of financial aid package that another university offered. But once again, make sure that they're comparable or they compete. You don't want to compare, and I hate to ruin this for anybody, but if you are looking at Duke University, and I always use Duke and UNLV as an example, but if you went to UNLV, great campus, great school for a lot of reasons. But if you're trying to say, hey, Duke is this, and that, and where I want to attend, and this is what I received from UNLV, Duke may not really look at it the same and say, well, we just don't consider ourselves, comparable, right? That they're not a direct competitor to us. So, but vice versa, maybe you get money from Duke, but not from UNLV. So you want to make sure you let that be known. But then also when it comes to any acceptance letters, and I know this is kind of unique, especially if you're familiar with this process, is although you may not have gotten an offer from a specific university, you got an acceptance letter. But if that university, once again, is somewhat comparable or in competition with another university and the cost of attendance is significantly lower, then you can say, hey, I got accepted over here at UCLA, but I really want to, attend USC. Now, the cost of attendance at UCLA is significantly less than it would be at USC. And they're competitors, right? They're LA, Southern California, they're competing with one another, and you didn't get any money from UCLA, but it's going to cost you a lot less. But in order for you to go to USC, you kind of got to get that price close to the same. And that's also worthy of submitting with your letter of appeal. So any updated financial information, if you've completed the FAFSA and you use your 2-year look back or the prior year and things have changed since then, make that information known and available and, support your argument. Once again, as parents, the logistics of things, support your argument by providing supporting docs. And then updated information as far as any academic stats, awards, honors, athletic accomplishments, anything that makes you as a student look more desirable, right? Look better. Hey, this is what's happened in the since I applied or since, I submitted my application that I couldn't actually, communicate, but, does this have any weight on me being able to get more money or any impact, for me to actually be more desirable to you as a university? That definitely can also help. But once again, continue to demonstrate interest. So send a letter and supportive documents to the appropriate destination within the required time frame. Give at least 1 week before following up or confirming receipt of submission. So if you submit it on a Wednesday, don't call them on a Friday. Don't even call them on a Monday. Wait till Wednesday the next week and then call them later in that week or so. Let them actually, review it and, check it out, go through it, and then get back to you. Sometimes it can take time, depending on the timing. There could be a lot of letters coming in and they're just reviewing all of them, but give them a little time. Don't panic. But once again, give yourself enough time by submitting all your information within a reasonable amount of time where it's not, right near the cutoff or the deadline to actually make your final decision of where your student is going to be attending. And then lastly, we have a template here and we can also send this to you, but you can see it here. So this is pretty much how you want to structure your letter when you submit or write your letter of appeal. Start with your student's information, general information, student's name, number, if applicable, if they have a student number, and then any contact information. You want them to be able to get a hold of you if need be. If this letter is from a parent, include the parent information. as well as the student's information. So if the letter is coming from the student, only include the student's information, but if it's coming from the parent, include both. And it is sometimes ideal to write two separate letters, one from the parent and one from the student. And then also you start the letter by gratitude, right? Hey, thank you for accepting me. Thank you for giving me this, award package. Thank you for whatever they've done, thank you for the consideration. And then, tell them why you're writing a letter. Hey, I'm writing this letter to let them know whatever the situation is that you want the college to know about. Ask for what you need. Can you help me buy? Be direct, be specific. What do you need? What are you asking for? And then, gratitude again. Hey, thank you again for your attention to this. Hey, thank you again for, acknowledging, my situation. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Sign, signature, attached supportive documentations, and any other required forms that the university would require. So your letter does not have to be long, but it needs to be direct. It needs to be, simple. And you don't want to have a page, and you don't want to have unless your situation, requires it. But for the most part, keep it short and sweet. Submit that information, that letter, and let that person or that department review it and get back to you within a timely manner. What's also really important, going back to number one, the financial aid stuff, is if you submit anything or make any change or state any argument, right? Hey, this is my situation, and this is what was my situation, and this is how my situation is now. You want to be able to justify anything that's on the FAFSA, any changes that you've made. And as long as they're legitimate changes, you need to be able to justify that if need be, if a verification is necessary, right? So, hey, I'm looking at your financial aid, your FAFSA, and then I'm looking at your situation. You're telling me this, but this is what you submitted. You got to be able to justify that change or that discrepancy. So make sure if you make any change, it's justifiable when needed for any specific reason or verification. So hopefully this was helpful. If you need more information and you have some questions, and you want to know more about how to do this, if you need help doing this, if you want us to review any of your letters that you may have be working on, or you're thinking about submitting, if you want us to help you write letters or just give you more information and confidence as you go through this process, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Josh Smith here, Great Above College Planning. You can reach us at info@greatabovecp.com. We will talk to you all soon, and be on the lookout for some more information to come. Thank you for checking out this video. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.